Hi guys, and welcome to the Sunderland vs Oxford match preview. So, Friday, the start of our Easter weekend, we do take on Oxford at the Stadium. Like Oxford, who've been massively in form over the last 2 or 3 months. I actually saw a stat yesterday which stated since Lee Johnson took charge of the club, or took charge as coach, Sunderland have took the most points, or gained the most points in the league ahead of anyone else in League One. We've gained the most points. Second, since Lee Johnson took charge in terms of gaining most points in the league, was Oxford, and third was Peterborough. And it just happens to be we take on Oxford tomorrow, Friday, and we take on Peterborough on Monday, which is going to be an absolutely huge game. But we need to take each game as it comes. And firstly, of course, we do have Oxford, who we do welcome to the Stadium Light. So let's have a look at Oxford briefly. They've been a little bit inconsistent over the last 3 or 4 games. They did win their last game against Lincoln, but I think they lost the last couple before that against Northampton and Blackpool respectively. But before that, they thumped Doncaster 3-0. So it depends what Oxford's going to turn up, in all honesty. Hopefully the one that got beat by Northampton and Blackpool, of course, but we'll have to see. You know, they're definitely not a team that we could take lightly. It's strange because Oxford, they're always a side, since we've been down here, that I've associated with being sort of top 6 candidates at least, at times top 2 over the last couple of seasons. But they started off poorly this season, and then recently, in recent months, they've just really found this resilience and this resurgence back up the league. So they're definitely not a team to be taken lightly. So, firstly, I'm going to go into our, or should I say my, preferred Sunderland 11 for this game. Now, bear in mind that I haven't seen a pre-match press conference, and over the last couple of preferred lineups I've done, I've accidentally included a player that's injured or not playing. But I can't physically make this video after the pre-match press conference. So there might be a player or two here that can't be included, or you might find out that one of these players are injured or something like that. But either way, here is my preferred 11 for this game. So I've gone with the sort of 4-2-3-1 that we have seen over the last few games. I've got Burge in goal, McFadzean, O'Nien, Sanderson and Power across the back. It depends, you know, McLaughlin, he has been on international duty. I think Power, I prefer him. In fact, I think he's probably our best right back that we've got at the minute, when O'Nien is over in the centre anyway. But I do prefer Power as an out-and-out right back to McLaughlin, even though Conor McLaughlin, I think he's had a brilliant season. He's improved drastically this season. But Conor McLaughlin, for me, as I've said before on this channel, I think he is so much better on the right-hand side of a back three, whereas as an out-and-out right back, I do prefer Max Power. Now, in the middle, you know, if we're playing any sort of lesser side, I would have gone for Winchester and Leadbitter, because I feel like at home, a lot of teams sit back, and when teams do sit back, or they at least allow us possession, I think Leadbitter is probably the best central midfield option we have, because he really does control that midfield. He dictates the play, and he allows whoever is his midfield partner, i.e. Winchester or Scowen or whoever's alongside him, he allows them to get forward. You know, I think there's a little bit of a vendetta against Leadbitter I've noticed in my comment section recently, which I really don't understand at all. This sort of narrative that is negative and only passes backwards, I think it's absolute rubbish. He's our highest scoring central midfielder. You might say some of penalties, but even if you wipe out the penalties, he's still a highest goal scoring midfielder. So I don't get it. There just seems to be this sort of memory loss with Leadbitter when he has dragged us through so many games this season, but because he hasn't been the highest performer over the last couple of months, he's been deemed this negative, poor player, which I just don't understand at all. But either way, I'm going off topic there, just a little bit of a rant. I've gone for Winchester and Scowen because I do believe that Oxford will be in our faces a lot more than most sides at the Stadium Light. I don't think they are just going to sit back. So Scowen, I think, although I have said a lot in recent games on Scowen, although I do like him in terms of getting in players' faces, and his pressing game is very, very good, but he is far more negative than the likes of Leadbitter. If you notice that I've said it a few times, you know, I'm very up and down with Scowen. Sometimes I'll go through a phase where, or depending on what mood he's in, he will drag the ball forward. But recently, he might win the ball back in a great place and he'll pass it backwards, or he'll have acres of space in front of him. He'll hold on to the ball far too long. He'll drag out opposition players, which is good, but then rather than making the forward pass, he goes backwards and it puts us under pressure. And I find that that's what is very, very frustrating with Scowen. But when you're up against the side who are in your face and do press in your face, it's good to have someone who can counterbalance that with Scowen, because he's got that sort of stamina, he's got that bit of pace about him and speed about him to get in players' faces and opposition players' faces really quickly. So I'm going to put Scowen in there alongside Winchester. Winchester's becoming almost one of the first names on the team sheet, particularly in the middle recently, because he's just so good on the ball. I prefer him in that central position rather than to that sort of centre-forward role that he was played in the other week. I think he's very, very good in the middle. Now, going forward, I've put Haydn McGee on the left, of course. Now, on the right, it's maybe a little bit harsh on Gooch, but I think if Jones is fully fit for this game, or match fit, he's too good to leave out. He is far too good to leave out. I think he's better than Gooch. He's got that pace, creativity, he can shoot, he can score, of course. His ability to get the ball in the box as well is very, very good. That cross the other week for Charlie White was just ridiculous from the right-hand side from Jordan Jones, should I say. So he needs to start if he is fit, in my opinion. Now, Chris Maguire did play in a under-23s game. He scored an absolute screamer a few days ago. But, you can easily argue, it was the under-23s, and I'm fully aware of that. But for me, I'd love to see at some point McGeady, Jones and Maguire in behind Charlie White. I think that would be so lethal. But at the moment, I really just can't leave Aidan O'Brien out the side, particularly that he scored last time out. Granted, it was with his shin, but still, and I've already said his importance, Aidan O'Brien to help Charlie White out. So I can't really leave Aidan O'Brien out. So at the moment, this is a side I would like us to play. Now, as I mentioned, there could be other players coming back. I know Denver Hume's been getting minutes with the under-23s, but for me, I think it'd be a bit too soon for him. I think maybe he could come off the bench against Oxford, and then if he does well there, I just want to see Hume making those runs down the left-hand side again, because I think we've really, really missed that. Those direct runs, he wins his free kicks, he's so dangerous, he's such a nightmare to deal with, Denver Hume, for opposition defences, particularly getting forward. He was improving defensively as well this season before he was injured, so I'm gutted for him that his progress has sort of curtailed a little bit. But I want to see him get back into the side eventually. I just don't want to rush him because I do believe he's that good, and I really, really rate Denver Hume very highly. Bailey Wright, of course, I don't know whether he's going to be available again. I haven't seen the pre-match press conference yet, so this is all a guessing game for me. If he is back and Lee Johnson deemed him to be fully fit, then of course I would go in there and I'd put Bailey Wright back in the defence. I might put Luke O'Nien out right back if that's the case, or maybe push Luke O'Nien into midfield. You never know. We have these options now, which is absolutely crazy, which we don't usually have. We have the selection headache now, and I'm struggling week in, week out to put my preferred lineup. But I think that one should be enough if Jordan Jones is fit, of course. But in terms of predictions, on what I want, particularly over the last couple of games, over the next couple of games, I did actually do a poll on the community tab of the channel, and I asked how many points you guys think we're going to get over the next couple of games, the Easter weekend games against, of course, Oxford and Peterborough as well. And it was 4 points most in favour. I think then it was second was 6 points. So a lot of you guys seem to think that we're going to get a draw and a win somewhere. Now, if that is the case, I would genuinely rather draw against Oxford tomorrow and then get the win against Peterborough, which means that we would be at least a point closer to them and we'd be earning more points than them over the next couple of games. Whereas if we win against Oxford but then draw against Peterborough, although it wouldn't be the end of the world, there would be no movement in the league table in that sense. But we would be gaining on them. So if we were to get 4 points, I would prefer get the draw against Oxford and then, of course, a win against Peterborough. And it'd be a massive statement result as well if we do manage to beat Peterborough. Of course, it would be ideal to get all 6 points. But now, with that in mind, I don't know why I've just got this feeling in terms of my predicted scoreline for this game. I'm really struggling now. I want to say, and it'd be so easy for me to say, we'll get a good 2-3-0 Sunderland win, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as that. In my head, I think it's going to play out differently. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw, and I hate to say that, but I can see it being a 1-1 draw, and then it'll build up and put the pile of pressure on the lads for the game against Peterborough, and then I think we'll scrape a win against Peterborough. And I think that's the way it's going to work out. I hope so anyway. I would rather it, if we were to get 4 points, I'd rather it be that way. But that's the way I'm going to predict it anyway. And hopefully the gods are on my side and it does work out that way. And we don't get less than 4 points anyway. So yeah, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Probably a bit boring. Maybe not what you guys wanted to hear. But I am going to say that Oxford aren't a bad side at all. But anyway, yeah, that'll be my match preview for this game. If you did enjoy, please hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, you take care and stay jamming.